Alright, this video is going to be on rotations once again. In this video we're going to rotate shapes around the origin on the Cartesian plane. So now we're going to have multiple points that we're rotating. So if I'm rotating this, I need to know the three things I need to know when I'm rotating something: the direction of the rotation, the degrees of the rotation, and where the point of rotation is. Now in all of these examples, we're going to use the origin as the point of rotation. So I should always label that point of rotation. Okay, now I need to know the degrees, which is 90, and then the direction, which is clockwise. So we're going to be going in this direction. Now when I'm going 90 degrees, you'll remember that that means we're going from one quadrant to the next quadrant. So we're going from quadrant 1 down to quadrant 4. So what we need to remember again is the signs for this new quadrant, which for quadrant 4, we have a positive and a negative. So our x is going to be positive, our y is going to be negative. Okay, so our next step, or the first step, what we need to know once we know all those things, is we need to find the coordinates for each of these spots. So I'm going to change my color here to something a little darker. And so it's always smart to write those down. So my coordinates for A, 2 and 5. For D, they're 2 and 3. For C, they are 4 and 3. And for B, they are 4 and 5. Okay, so you remember we're moving this 90 degrees. So the rule was when we move 90 degrees, the digits within the coordinates swap places, and then we make the signs match the quadrant they're moving into. So for our new, we're going to write them over here: A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. Okay, so we're going to swap those. So in A, it's going to be 5 and 2. B, it's going to be 5 and 4. C, it's going to be 3 and 4. And then D, it's going to be 3 and 2. Now we need to make the signs match. So again, over here, for quadrant 4, it's going to be a positive and negative. So I'm going to put a negative on all of these. And now I'm ready to plot these points. So A prime is going to be at 5 and negative 2, which is here, A prime. B prime is going to be at 5 and negative 4, which is down here, B prime. C prime is going to be 3 and negative 4, which is here, C prime. And D prime is going to be 3, negative 2, which is here, D prime. So I have all those labeled properly now, and I have them connected. So there we have our new image of the rotated square 90 degrees clockwise. So last thing I'm missing here is I need to connect with an arrow to show the direction of our rotation. Here we go on our second one. So we're going 180 degrees counterclockwise. So we're going this direction, and we're in quadrant 2. So we're going to end up over here in quadrant 4. And you'll remember that the signs for quadrant 4 are a positive and negative. So our point of rotation, once again, is going to be the origin. So I'm going to label that. Okay, and now I need to put down my coordinates. So for A, we have negative 4 and 4. B, we have negative 2 and 2. C, we have negative 4 and 2. So now to go to my new ones: A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay, so we're going 180. If you remember 180, the rule is that we leave the digits in the order they're in, and then we adjust the signs to fit. So 4 and 4, 2 and 2, and 4 and 2. And so the signs again are going to be positive and negative. So that's a negative, negative, and negative. So now we can plot those points. So A prime is going to be at 4 and negative 4. A prime. B prime is going to be at 2 and negative 2, which is here. B prime and C prime is going to be 4 and negative 2, which is here, C prime. And now I can connect those. So now I have my newly located new image, which has been rotated counterclockwise 180 degrees. So then I also would want to draw my arrow there. All right, let's try another one. So this one we're going to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. So again, we're going this direction on the arrow, or origin, sorry. So we're going to go from quadrant 3, one quadrant over, we're going to be in quadrant 4. So my point of rotation again is the origin, and quadrant 4, again, if you remember, is a positive and negative for my signs. So my coordinates for these letters are F, A, T, and T. So F is going to be -5, -3. A is going to be -2, -3. First T is going to be, let's see, -2 and -5, -2, -5. And then the last one's going to be -5, -5. Okay, so our new one is going to be F prime, A prime, T prime, and T double prime. Sure, just to keep them separate there. Okay, so in this one I'm going 90, so I have to swap the digits. So 3 and 5. A is going to be 3 and 2. T is going to be 5 and 2. And then the last one's going to be 5 and 5. Okay, and to be in the fourth quadrant, they have to be positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Now we're ready to plot these. So 3 and -5 is going to be down here. 5 and -5 is going to be over here. So that's T double prime. And this was F prime. Okay, and 3 and -2 is up here for A. And then the other T is going to be right there. So I can now connect those. Okay, we've now rotated. And I'm going to go from this T around to this T. There's my angle showing me 90 degrees rotation. A rotation has occurred, and now this question we've been asked to label it. So remember, the things we need to label are the point of rotation. So I put that there, point of rotation. And we just show where direction it has rotated. Now in this one, it doesn't tell us, so we can choose either way. So we're in one quadrant, we're in the quadrant next to it, so we can either say, if we're saying it went this direction, it went clockwise, and then it went one quadrant, so that would make it 90. Let's say I wanted to say it went this way, then that we would say that it went 270 counterclockwise. But we'll just stick with the 90 clockwise. Okay, so we're saying 90 degrees clockwise. There's my point of rotation. It already has the primes on it, so I know that this is my new image. So then I need an arrow going from this to the new image, and then I would be labeled properly. Now let's say on this one here that we want to label this rotation. Now we don't see on either one of them which one is the original because there's no letters or primes or anything involved. So we can just decide for ourselves what it is. But I can tell that it's opposite quadrants, therefore it went 180 degrees. So we're going to pick the direction, and we will say it went counterclockwise, and we'll say that this one over here is our original. So we'll do A, B, C, and D. Okay, so then counterclockwise is going this direction. So then we're going to say, let's first put our point of rotation is going to be there. Okay, and now we need to rotate this. So to know exactly so we can label it properly when it went down, I always like to figure out my coordinates anyways, just to make sure at least on two of them to find the new coordinates for A prime and B prime. So we'll just do two of them. And that'll tell us, and we can figure out where C and D are. So A, original image, is 6 and 3. Okay, and for B, it was 8 and 3. Okay, so going to 180, we leave the digits the same. So it's still going to be 6 and 3 and 8 and 3. But because we're in quadrant 3, both are going to be negative. So -6, -3, -8, -3. So now I go and I find -6, -3. So this is going to be A prime here. -8, -3 is going to be B prime here. And so if we notice looking on the original, A and B, and then next to B was C, so this one's going to be C prime, and then next to A was D. So now I'm able to label that properly. Okay, so now I can draw my arrow, let's say we go from A all the way, that's the terrible arrow. Let's go this way down to here. Okay, and that shows our rotation. So there we've labeled it properly. So there you go, we've showed how to do a rotation. Remember, always put the coordinates down and then do the following the rules for 90, switching the numbers, and then make the signs proper for the quadrant it's going to, and then always label it properly. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. If you need any more help, contact me.